Hello, friends. Here I am today again speaking about my art project Navadurga, the Marathi version of which I published on the 21st of October. And some of my Canadian and Mexican friends mentioned that they would like to know more about this, but preferably in English, of course, because they are not aware of Marathi. So here I am again. Just a very brief background about how all this started. I came to know from Facebook that there's this global art project called as Inktober, in which you are supposed to draw something in ink, and they have a published list of themes to choose, like paint on or draw on that particular day. The first 5 or 6 days just went by like that, and on the 7th of October, there is the beginning of Navaratra, means 9 nights of celebrating the goddess Durga, who is the symbol of power, of Shakti. This Navratra is celebrated in different ways in different parts of India. Major celebrations take place in the state of West Bengal, where they raise pandals and actually erect the idols, big, really huge idols, goddess Durga. And there is a lot of jewelry and music and everything. In the west part of India, which is Gujarat, there is Garba. That's a particular type of dance which is performed to celebrate the goddess Durga. In my state, that is Maharashtra, we have at home, we sow some seeds of wheat in a small pot and then let it germinate. And by 9 days, it like comes to sort of this high pile of the wheat germs. And there's a lot of other rituals and prayers which are sung in the glory of goddess Durga. So when the Navratra started, I said, this is a nice way to contribute to the Inktober project by doing one painting of goddess Durga every day in her different 9 forms. Of course, as time went on, I was not able to complete one on each day, but finally, by the end of 2 weeks, I was able to compile a folder of these 9 paintings. And to go with that, I also wrote some content which explains what the pictures are about. So let me share my screen now to take you to this artwork. I am new to the acrylic medium, so technically there are going to be a lot of flaws, but I think overall the whole thing has turned out not very bad for the first attempt. So just give me a minute. So here I am. The title is Navadurga. Nava means 9 and Durga is the goddess of strength, power, Shakti. The picture here shows you actually the 10th day, which is of the goddess Saraswati. She is the goddess of knowledge. So you can see her with an open book, and she is holding an instrument which is called as the Veena, and she is giving blessings with her raised hand. And on the left here are the quintessential garlands of marigold flowers and mango leaves. The Saraswati is shown to be riding a peacock, so that's her vehicle. And she also has a swan along with her. And these at the bottom here are these leaves, which are of a particular plant, which are distributed to each other on this last day, that is the 10th day, called as the Dashera. And they represent gold. In the center, the pictorial here is what is called as a Saraswati Yantra. And it is, even this symbol itself also means Saraswati. It's symbolic of Saraswati goddess. So let us now look at what these Navadurgas are about. I'm just going to sort of make short of this Marathi writing for you to understand. So Durga is the quintessential Shakti or power. She's also known by the names Uma, Aparna, Urvi, Gauri, Shakti, Girinandini, and all. She is the main goddess of the Shakta or the Shakti sect, and she's also known as Yoga Maya. And she is the one who helps us to free ourselves from the shackles of darkness and ignorance. She is supposed to be the daughter of Himalaya, and her brother is Vishnu, and her sister is the river Ganga. And she's known as the consort of Lord Shiva. So she has two major forms. One is the Gauri, which is the fair and the calm and content one. And the second one is the Kali, which is the more fearsome and a little bit of violent root of the form of the goddess Gauri, who's supposed to be the one who kills the demons. So let us look at the next slide. And this is a hymn which we're singing in reverence to the goddess Durga. It's a really big one, and what it means is it describes her, and it describes how she helps us to take us from ignorance to enlightenment, and how she is the one who rids us of all our woes and fears and makes us strong. And she's also able to rid us of diseases, and that's how we should be taking shelter with her in order to free ourselves from these maladies. This is again a Devi mantra, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanstita, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. It means, I bow down to you, Devi, who resides in all beings as Shakti, as power. Then this is another sort of a hymn which describes the 9 different Gauris. So this is just like a sort of a poem which describes the names of the 9 Gauri forms. And this is about how when these 9 forms of the Devi are celebrated. So 4 times in an year we celebrate this, out of which the one in October is the one which is the most celebrated, Navaratra, or the 9 nights. These are different Bija mantras of the 9 Durgas. Bij mantras are the ones which go like Om Hrim Shivaya Namaha, Om Hrim Shrim Ambikaya Namaha, and so on. They have this Om Hrim Klim, these syllables. The other mantras do not have these Klim, Shrim, Hrim kind of words. These are there only in the Bij mantras, the seed mantra. Bij is seed. And there are some Ayurvedic correlations with the Durgas. Each Devi is associated with her own medicinal plant, and then this describes how different these herbs can take care of different diseases that are there. This is very new to me. Even I did not know until I actually went to research all this. So this project ended up taking me from ignorance about the Devi to a little bit of enlightenment about her. These are the 11 names of what is known as the Siddha Peeth, that is the locations in which there are temples of this Devi, and they are supposed to be very like live wires of energy, and people go there and pray to her and also wish for something, and when the wish comes true, they go back and sort of offer more prayers to her. So there are 11 of these. Most of them are situated in the northern parts of India. I mean, almost all of them, these 11 ones, are situated in the northern India. And now this is 51 Shakti Peeth, that is energy centers again. And this is a map of India. It's not an exactly correct map. Anyone who's looking at this map, I pray that they don't heckle me on the borders and if I have included or excluded something. This is a representative map. The interesting thing to see is that though this Devi is a Hindu deity, because India was not split into Pakistan and Bangladesh before 1947, so there are some of these Devi temples located in Pakistan, like in Karachi, near Karachi. There are 2 of them. There are almost like 7 in Bangladesh, which was East Pakistan, then became Bangladesh in 1971. And then there are 4 in Nepal, and there is 1 in Sri Lanka down here. And the rest 37 are located in different places of India. They're mostly centered in the state of West Bengal, which you can see here. There's just a concentration of the names here. Most of them are located in West Bengal and Bangladesh. These are the 51 energy centers. So this is a description of the first goddess. She is called Shailaputri. That's the first form or like the manifestation. So Shail is Himalaya, the mountain range is supposed to be like the human form is the god, Himalaya. And so Putri is daughter. So she is Shailaputri. So the story is that once she was known as Sati before she became Shailaputri, like in a previous birth, and her father decided to perform a yajna, that is like the fire ritual, in which he invited all the gods and all sort of deities and everyone, but he did not invite Sati's husband, that is Shiva. So she was in a dilemma as to whether to go there or not. But then Shiva said, like, why do you deprive yourself of the celebration? So please go. When she went there, her sisters and her father spoke very derogatorily about Lord Shiva. Only her mother spoke to her nicely. So she was very angry. And because of that insult, she lit a fire with her yoga powers. And then she burned herself in that fire. When Lord Shiva came to know about this, he was very sad as well as angry. And then he performed his signatory dance known as Tandav. And he sort of, destroyed the yajna. The next birth, this Sati was born as Himalaya's daughter, and then she got married to Lord Shiva. So that's the description in the story behind her in short. And now here is the picture which depicts the Shailaputri. A familiar picture here is of the Mooladhara chakra, which most of the yoga people would know. So in the center is the chakra. Here you can see the Devi, her face, eyes. She's got 3 eyes, but they're calm and content. This Devi has 2 hands, and in one hand she holds a trident, in the other she holds a lotus. And she is shown riding a white bull. So there's a mantra of the particular Devi down here, and it describes her as like, I bow down to this Shailaputri who grants me whatever I wish for. And she is riding a bull and she holds these things in her hand. And she is a very success giving Devi. The next one is Brahmacharini, the second form of this Devi. And she is the one who prays to Brahma, the universe that is there. And she is located in the Swadhisthana chakra, the second chakra that is described in the yoga philosophy. And she also prayed a lot in order to get Lord Shiva as her husband. And she is said to have remained without food and water for like thousands of years. And then she was able to get Shiva as a consort. And she is a Devi or the goddess who gives fruit to any sort of penance or any sort of prayers done towards her. So this is Brahmacharini, again, a very calm looking face, 3 eyes. One of them I've represented with a tilak, that is and she is, the chakra in the center is the Swadhisthana chakra. She doesn't have a vehicle, so she's shown sitting on a lotus, and she's got like this water pot in her hand, and the other hand has like a rosary made up of what is called as Rudraksha. This is a particular fruit which is found in northern Himalayas. And just a small detour here, the colors here shown here, the red and pink, are supposed to be the colors that this Shailaputri wears. And the Brahmacharini is shown to wear white clothes, and that's why the background is white. And so this is the Devi who gives you fruit of penance. Now, the third Devi is called Chandraghanta. This is the third form, and she is very important. And uh, in when you're praying to these Devis on this third day, it is said that the uh, like the sadhaka or the one who's praying, his mind enters the Manipur or the third chakra. And this Devi is supposed to grant you all, like you can see supernatural things and you get divine odors, aromas, and divine sounds you can hear, something like that. She is also one who grants peace, and she everything perhaps like in your life goes well by praying to her. She also gives you liberation, moksha, sadgati. And because this Devi gives you both like fearlessness and courage, as well as a mild and respectful demeanor. So you can see here the red and yellow is the colors of her clothes. The chakra in the center is the Manipur chakra. 3 eyes, and she has 8 hands, like 10 hands now. So one side holding the trident. This is a mace. This is a sword. This one hand is in Abhaya Mudra. Abhaya is she grants you like freedom from fear. And then this is the water pot. This is a rosary on the left side, on the right hand side of her. Rosary, again Abhaya Mudra, a bell, bow and arrow, and a lotus. And here on her head, on the crown, there's like a half moon, small crescent. She rides the tiger. So again, there's a mantra which describes all that is actually there in the picture. The fourth one is Kushmanda, and this Devi is the fourth form. And by praying to this Devi, your mind enters the Anahat chakra. And it's said that she creates the whole universe. And she's supposed to reside in the Surya Mandala, that is the galaxy near the sun. And it's said that when you pray to this Devi, all your diseases and all your maladies, all your griefs will be taken away. And that's the picture. The yellow and pink are her clothes. She has got 3 calm eyes, lotus, an arrow, a bow, and a water pot in the right-sided 4 hands, and a chakra, that is a disc, a mace, a rosary, and a pot which is filled with blood in the left hand side. And she rides a tiger. Skanda Mata is the 5th form of the Devi, and she is the one who is said to open the door to liberation. And she also is one who grants the wishes of people who pray to her. And she is also the one who is supposed to grant you like inspiration and creativity and make all the creative juices flow. She's called Skanda Mata because she's the mother Mata of one of the gods called as Skanda or Kartikeya. And the picture shows her here in an orange and yellow sari or clothes, and again 3 eyes, lotus and Abhaya Mudra on one side. She has 4 hands and a lotus, and this 6-headed sun, that is Skanda, who she is the mother of. And here you have the Vishuddhi chakra, the 16-petaled throat chakra, and she rides a lion here. And again, down here is her mantra. Then the 6th one is Katyayani. In this, at this level, the person who's praying enters the Ajna or the Agya chakra. That is the chakra at the glabella. And it is said that when you pray to this Devi, she helps you to attain all the 4 purusharthas as are described in the yoga philosophy: dharma, that is what one should do in his lifetime. Artha, that is the money, finance, material pleasure. Kam is the sexual pleasure, and thinking, like wishing for everything, and moksha is liberation. So all of these are easily available if you pray to this Katyayani Devi. So she is the one who gives fruit to her prayer. And she has like a golden countenance. So the face here I have shown completely filled of gold. And the Agnya Chakra with 2 petals. And she has 4 hands, one holding the trident, one holding a shield, and the other 2 holding a sword and a lotus. And she also rides a lion. The 7th Devi is Kalaratri. Kala means time. So past, present, and future. So Kalaratri. And she opens the door to all sorts of siddhis, that is accomplishments. And at this juncture, the person who's praying lands into the Sahasrar or the crown chakra. And just by taking her name, you can destroy all demonic forces. And she is the Kali. She is the more fearsome and sort of, like grotesque looking form. And her eyes are bloodshot, and it's written that she spews fire from her breath when she's exhaling. And she's supposed to help us get rid of all sorts of maladies, whether they are due to the planetary arrangements or whether they're due to the elements like fire, water, all sorts of infections and all enemies. She also rids us of fear in general. So you can see the Kali here, or the Kalaratri, with 3 opened eyes, and they're like really staring at you with a red tongue which is outside. Her hair is all strewn about, and her clothes are red and black. So, and you can see she's wearing a garland of skulls here of all the demons that she has killed. This is a Sahasrar chakra. She wields the like a sort of a different kind of sword, and this is a scimitar, and this is a lotus, and this is a trident, and she rides a donkey. And the red color here I've represented of her clothes by just these dots, because giving the complete picture with this red color would have been difficult to bring her face forward. So I just changed the pattern here a little bit. Again, this describes her form, the mantra. Then the 8th one is Mahagauri. Now the chakras have ended here. She is a totally fair looking and white looking Devi. She's a very content and calm Mian. And she has a shankar, that is a conch, a moon, and white flowers, which give her the white color. That is what is described in the writing there. And she is supposed to have prayed and wished for getting married to Lord Shiva at the banks of this lake called as Mansarovar, which is located near the Nepal, China, India border, and the Kailash Parvat or Kailash mountain that is there. And it says that when she was doing all this penance, and her body turned all black because of exposure to all the elements. And when the Lord Shiva got appeased and he got happy that she's doing all this for him, then the story goes that he bathes her with the water of the river Ganges or the Ganga, and then she becomes all fair and white, and that's why she's called Mahagauri. She is a very she is a goddess who is the one who gives us all health, wealth, and she is the one who does good. That in that sense, all devis are supposed to do good, but she's the one who's like gives you all material and wealth and everything. So here I have depicted the Kailasha mountain, the Manasarovar down here, She also rides the white bull. She has a lotus in one hand and a trident in the other, Abhaya Mudra, that is the one, Varada Mudra, that is she gives you, blesses you, the blessing hand. And this here is an instrument, musical instrument, which is shaped like a sundial. And these strings here are, when you move it like this, spin it like this, the strings have beads attached and they sort of beat on top of this diaphragm-like thing, which is on the top of that instrument. Again, the mantra related to Mahagauri. And the last Devi is Siddhi Datri. Siddhi is all sorts of supernatural powers or powers that one can gain by praying to her. And that is the last and the ninth form of Devi. And it is said that you pray to this Devi and you get all sorts of powers. And this is the last and the ultimate form of this Devi. And it's, the story says that even Lord Shiva acquired all his powers by praying to this Devi. And this is a picture of Siddhidatri. Her clothes are supposed to be red and blue. So the color scheme here. And this is a Devi. On one hand, she holds a discus and a mace. In the other, a conch and a lotus. And she doesn't ride any animal. So there's just a lotus shown here. Oops, sorry. And here I have written all these different siddhis that she helps the yogi to acquire. At the corners of these red squares are the Ashta Siddhi, if you have heard of them. These are Anima and Mahima. That is the Siddhi, or the power to become minute like an atom, the power to become huge, the power to become heavy, Garima, the power to become light like a feather, Laghima. Prapti is the one in which you can hear animals and come to know what's going on in other people's minds. Prakamya is the ability to be able to get whatever you wish for. Vashitva is you can make other people do what you want them to do. And Ishitva is getting all divine powers in yourself. And then there are so many of these other ones which I have written here. Some of them are about how you can become as strong as an elephant. You can Kaladnyan, that is you come to know about everything about your future, past, present, everything. And you can become invisible. You can come to know everything about your body. You can become stable. You can understand all different five senses. You can understand about them. You can get rid of thirst and hunger and so many other such. 26 siddhis in all. And there are these 9 nidhis that I'm written about here. And this at the bottom is the mantra. So this is about the Nava Devis that are celebrated in most parts of India in different ways. And I hope you like the video and maybe want to read a little bit more of it. All my research was from Google and Wikipedia, so you can visit that too. Thank you so much.